Northwestern's coming to town. Big noon kickoff. Fox, I rarely promote, but I was just kind of floored by, oh, wow, that has to be the big noon game. Let me look at the rest of the college football day. Ohio State, Indiana is the ABC primetime game. It's
What?
not exactly a stellar schedule of college football this weekend.
I did not even see that. Oh my gosh. After we put them all in that 1 week, that 2 weeks ago was like the best slate ever. And now we're going 2-3 weeks without a good game. Come on now.
Yeah, I don't know what the Big Ten schedulers were thinking. I would think you would want one or two really good matchups every week and spread them out. Of course, you can't predict everything. I get that, but
you have to know that
usually Penn State are usually pretty good. Like
it's actually panned out that the top 5-ish Big Ten teams that usually are there this year. So it would be pretty simple to do that, I think. But I think a lot of Michigan fans are saying, thank God for October 30th, because we're ready for a big game here for sure.
All right, Michigan fans, if you believe in the transitive property, I'm going to give you a scare. Michigan defeats Rutgers 20-13 at home by 7 points. Northwestern able to defeat Rutgers 21-7, 14 points. Conversion rate, Northwestern wins by 7.
I'm not going to buy into it. Sorry, Mark. I'm sorry. I do love when people do a whole list of like how, Florida Atlantic somehow is better than Alabama by the transitive property. But I'm not going to buy into one game of football that Northwestern played against Rutgers, who's not really turning out to be a decent football team. I'm not buying in that they have figured it out on defense. But my gut here says, if you look at, the total defense in the Big Ten here, Northwestern is the bottom of the list, them in Illinois. And I have to imagine that with the rushing attack that Michigan has and Blake Corum and Hassan Haskins, that it might be a boring game, because I think Michigan is going to run it until they can't anymore, and Northwestern will be struggling to stop them.
I believe Michigan's in the neighborhood of a 23-24 point favorite. Seems reasonable. I could see them slopping through, or not necessarily slopping through, more from the standpoint of execution, run the ball, get out of town, we're done, we're good, or let's go home. They're not out of town. 24-7 game. They don't cover the spread. Or I could see them hit on some big pass plays as they mix it up a little bit, and maybe it's 42-7 and they cover the spread. Whatever. I'd be surprised if this is a game into the fourth quarter. Northwestern's built a great program there with Pat Fitzgerald, but this is not the year. They didn't cycle through on this year. That was last year. It's crazy how they've won division championships and then put like a 3-9 season in the middle of them.
It is. If you look at their like yearly records, it's like, whoa, what happened in that year?
Oh yeah.
But Pat Fitzgerald has done a great job with his recruiting classes of getting to that 1 year. Hey, we're building up to this 1 year where we have all our seniors back, and we're going to do this. And then he knows that the next year is going to be a tough one. And that, like you said, this is one of those years. And so a lot of people would call this a trap game, coming off a bye week, and you're probably looking ahead to MSU next week in a top 10 matchup between the Spartans and the Wolverines. I just think if it was on the road, maybe a little bit, but Northwestern, even on the road, it's 75% Michigan fans there anyway. So I just don't see how Michigan doesn't get the job done this week. I think they're going to put J.J. McCarthy in, pretty early, maybe have him play the entire second half. And that's where I think they could cover the spread. I think it, like you said, it could be a 24-7 game where they rush for 350 yards, but don't score that much because they have 8-minute drives. But I think they could air it out in the second half to get JJ his reps and get those receivers involved and things like that. That's how I see this game really getting broken up and open in the second half.
Talking Michigan football with Justin Rowe. Please join him on Blue by 90 podcast. And there's his Twitter handle right there, Justin Rowe 92. Michigan 6-0, Northwestern 3-3 at the Big House this week.